Welcome back to the Ben Lady list. This is by radiotimes.com. And
Ben Lady.
Did I call him Ben Lady?
Yes.
Yeah, Ben Lady. That's his now new name. This is 5 things EastEnders needs to do next under Ben Wadey. Now, we already did a list where we ranked the 10 best things by Radio Times, or we just read it. I don't know how to describe it. So now we're going to do the 5 things he needs to do next under his direction. Are you ready for this list, Ash?
I mean, I'll just obviously say, for clarity, obviously for clickbait purposes, this is saying the worst. These are just stuff to avoid. It's not like we're not that far gone yet. So just, in case the clickbait suckered you in, let's just peel back the curtain. This is just lovely little clickbait title.
Yeah. And without further ado, let's begin.
Number 1.
A clear direction for Linda Carter and family, as Linda Carter stares directly into my eyes, into your soul. After over a decade as a landlady at the Queen Vic, roughly 12 years, maybe 13, 12, Linda and her family are now out of the pub, seemingly for good. Kelly Bright remains one of the strongest members of the soap's cast, and Linda herself has been a breath of fresh air since her return from rehab in February, providing warmth and wisdom to many in the square after a dark couple of years for her. Removing Linda from the Queen Vic with so many questions about what remains for her future means the soap needs to decide fast how to serve Bright's talents going ahead, in a way that feels right for her character. Given how well Linda has suited for caring and being a good Samaritan, perhaps there is something in this for her, or a brand new business, or even making the most out of, I was going to suggest this myself, even making the most out of her in the salon with Denise and Kim Fox again. Yeah, I like to see that. I just some banter between those 3 women. You'll have Kim doing sexual innuendos. You'll have Linda just trying to be like, I was going to say landlady of the salon. And then you just have Denise being like, shut the fuck up, lads. And they're just, I would say getting pissed. They're just, it's just a fucking mental place in there. Mental in a good way. Of course, Max's comeback poses many questions for Linda. Could Linda end up pulled into the Branning clan? This could certainly be ironic considering actress Kelly Bright once auditioned to play Tanya Brannan, Max's second wife, which subsequently went to actress Jo Giorno.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
Similarly, the same issue of the new purpose arises for Linda's mum, Elaine Knight, the show stopping Harriet Thorpe, whose own character has been very much defined since her return by her connection to the Knights and her role as landlady of which now she has neither. Technically, I should say this article was written before she was in the Albert, so we already have the purpose for her, and just stroke Ash off. Ash came up with this idea. Ben Wadey listened, so we're on the Ben Wadey payroll, like how we were on the Chris Crenshaw payroll.
I wish.
Like how we run the Chris Crenshaw payroll, we're on the Ben Wadey
Some say
payroll.
we're idiots because we're doing it for free.
Meanwhile, Johnny's presence continues need expansion, and this goes beyond being a potential fall for years-long Ballum romance. The Carter Peacocks are worthy and lots of screen time, so let's hope they get the right stories.
Yeah, a lot to tuck into here. I love intriguing things. First and foremost, obviously, Linda is one of the staple characters and is probably one of the newest characters who are slowly plodding towards becoming an iconic character. She's a 10 very solid years, 10 very substantial years, well, even like 12 now, 11 substantial years of EastEnders, and she's had the big stuff with Dean, and then she had the relationship with Mick, and even then you had the alcoholism. She's drummed up a lot of accolades, so rightfully so. There does need to be a position for Linda to go now that she's not landlady of the Vic. Now, what they did when they initially tried to remove her from the Vic in 2020, when Ian and Sharon were the landlady and landlord, they initially put her in the Yolandi role. They initially had her working in the laundrette and just having a flat And that's kind of where they had Linda be. And this was when she was with Max, and this was when she had that little time away from Mick. But ultimately, she kind of fit that role, but she didn't really. Like, she made it work because it's Kelly Brighton, she's fantastic. But they didn't necessarily go all in. And now, obviously, Yolande's in that role. And sorry, no one's knocking Yolande off that perch. No one's knocking her off that perch currently. She's doing the best work of her career in this role. So she can't go back to the laundrette. And with how the story's kind of progressed, it feels like they are very resistant to. They don't want to put her in. They don't want to put her behind a pub. You know, they can't. It feels dumb. Like, why would they do that again? The whole point of moving her out of the pub was to avoid like cropping into the addiction again. And right now, they're currently living where Alfie and Kat were. Which I don't know if that's a long-term thing. I don't entirely know. But it kind of feels like the right necessary place as you give them room to kind of develop where they want Linda to go, because Linda is too important in the current line of things to be forgotten at the end of the day. And if they do, it would be a huge problem, because Linda is a very important piece of the puzzle. So, as said before, what do you actually make her do? Because you can't, because I know it seems a bit redundant because I don't really give this job to people. Like, are you really going to have to do stuff like cafe worker? Where she's just in the cafe, so she still interacts with a bunch of people, but kind of her and Kathy strike up like a business partnership of some form, where her and, like, you know, maybe we get some Kathy and Linda scenes. Maybe she buys into the gym with Sharon, and then we get more Sharon and Linda scenes. Like, it's a kind of hard situation to place, because Linda's home is the Vic, and it has been the Vic for a long time. So what do you do once you remove someone out of their home? Well, it's sink or swim. So, yeah. And for Elaine, obviously, as Piggy mentioned, I suggested they put Elaine and Cindy together. Not like romantically, just as business partners in the Albert, where you basically have this really bitey, really kind of back and forth, constantly jabbing at each other. And it has worked. It's paid dividends immediately. Like, the stock has never been higher. So that's fine. And then you have Johnny, who is now actually, other than the Six, is getting another big storyline with his affair with Callum. So, like, I think the Carters are probably quite insulated as to where they have been, because especially when you think of the original Carters, where you go, yeah, so Nancy did it. She did good stuff with Tamwa, and that was fun, but that doesn't matter anymore because they broke up. And Lee, well, he's having fun now, but, you know, after the depression, he didn't really do anything. Johnny, kind of meandering through life, not really being anything special beyond his initial coming out. So it then just kind of left, like, the Carters were just Mick, Shirley, and Linda.
And
The
Tina.
one thing I will argue, though, is we are kind of worried towards some of the knights. Like, I think George is safe. I think George has probably got a contract for however long he wants to stay on the show. Let's be honest. Colin Salmon, talent, like, world famous actor, is still doing movies at this point as well. So, like, he's seemingly got a bunch of freedom. Obviously, Anna Knight is set to leave because they realised she wasn't particularly interesting. But and Gina, they kind of keep teasing that her and Harry will get together, and I think that will probably be her natural resting point for the next, like, period of time, because Gina has proven to be the best Night Sister, and ultimately, I think she'll be a character who does manage to get a good 4 or 5 years under her belt, but beyond that point, it's kind of uncertain as of now. So, as it suggests, good idea to finally kind of establish what the future looks like for the Knights and the Peacocks and the Carters. So
I would, like I suggested, I would, sorry for the shaky, I would put Linda in the salon, because I do think that is a belter dynamic. Like, I'm just, like, imagining the conversations between Linda, Denise, and Kim. It's just, belter. I know they don't really use the salon unless it's for a purpose.
yeah, they
But-
barely use it these days, to be honest.
But, like, especially if you put Linda in there, just you can make some funny scenes like you can with Elaine and Cindy. And when you said Elaine and Cindy are just business partners, they're not in a relationship, I'm like, I wouldn't mind it, you know? Like Big Mo in the 70s, where she had a lesbian hookup. I wouldn't mind if they tried it just once, you know? Once, you know? So she can see what her husband saw when he was secretly gay.
I think other options possibly, like maybe you get a new business, maybe, like you could put Linda on like a flower stall in the market,
You
you know,
could.
have her like selling up some flowers. You could do some funny. I doubt they'd do this, but you could do some funny thing where Linda would try to become an interior designer, and obviously the whole joke is her taste in like decoration is horrendous. Like it's just horrendous. Why are there peacocks everywhere? You know what I mean?
It just pans to her like doing like doing the Queen Viking cat, and it's just her fucking with leopard print.
It's just a weird thing though. Like she's not going to become like a funeral director. That's a bit too like it's a bit too dark for Linda. She's not going to go selling cars at the car lot. It just feels unlikely. So yeah, it's just the options are a little bit unclear. But then it's not like it's not like work is that important in EastEnders. It's kind of just there when it has to be. Let's be honest. So
yeah,
maybe she doesn't need a new job. Maybe she just needs, I don't know, a new passion.
Yeah, and
Linda becomes a world famous smut writer.
Next, Twilight. With robots. Oh, can we get the next one, please?
Number 2.
Some new blood. Ha ha ha. That was supposed to be a vampire impression. That was not a vampire impression, I know. It's been fantastic to see storyline being put into much of the show's cast, especially previously underserved characters. Additionally, the choices for returns have also been much desired and fan pleasing. However, soaps also thrive on looking to the future. And New Blood is a part of that, as shown by the success of Oscar, not reading that name after, Perry Muller joining as Oscar.
It's Pierre.
Pierre Muller. So let's hope. Let us hope Wadey has some more new announcements for characters up his sleeve, as it will be great to introduce some new faces to the square and create whole new legacies.
I mean, it's probably the right time to introduce a new family, in my opinion. Because, like, yeah, sure, you have the Knights, but the Knights are connected to the Beals, and and they're also connected to the Carters. So, like, we need a family who's unconnected to. Maybe they have like one friend, but they need to be fairly unconnected. Like the Panasars when they came in, they didn't have any friends on the square. They were a complete like fish out of water, straight into the square. And it's probably the right time because you've built up all of the other families so well. The Mitchells got everything now. Was dead on arrival before. You basically had Phil, Billy, like Billy's family, Jay, and Lexi. That's it. That's all you had really with the Mitchells. Now you have the new Mitchells. Now you have the returning Ben. Now you have Callum being a character worth talking about. You have Phil. You have Nigel. You have this really big group of Mitchells, and then you have then you have the Brannings, who is kind of linked up with the Trumans and the Foxes. So you have that family important with both younger bits of the cast as well. You have the different generations. You have Oscar. You have Penny. You have baby Jimmy even. Then you have like Jack, incoming Max, Denise, Kim, Howie, Pat. I don't know why I'm waving a crock around. Don't mind me. I'm just getting really into it. But you have that rebuilt. You have, as said before, the Beals, the Knights, the Carters, all the Peacocks, all in one as one kind of weird melded together family. And that even links up with the Brannins, like Cindy, Ian, etc., etc. Like there's Kathy. Basically, to cut this point short, you've built up every other family, even with the Slaters as well, which I didn't mention. With the Slaters, well, the Slaters and the Panasars are the other family I didn't mention, but both are pretty big. You still need one or two more for the Slaters, in my opinion, because they are still running on empty. You still need some bigger characters to kind of take the lens over. But With all that said, it is the right time to get a new family on the square.
Yeah,
And I don't know what the family should be, but I definitely think it's naturally time. And every producer wants to stamp their name in lights by putting a new family on our screens. And maybe it doesn't turn out because ultimately, how many of actual families end up staying through the years? Just look at the Carters. That we're on Johnny number 3, and Linda's the only one who's left. Like, it's just how it works with soaps. You have to find ways to keep characters to stick around. So, at the end of the day, it's about time to introduce a completely new family. I don't want it to be a family like the Taylors or like the Millers. Can we just not do that? You know, we don't need the token poor family that is the Slaters, really. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea, but like, we don't need another caricature like of that sort of thing. So I don't know, like family from a different background. I don't know, just something intriguing.
And can you wave that crock around for us one last time?
No.
Okay. The next one, please.
Number 3.
A strong exit for Stacey Slater. This seems obvious, but let's read on. Losing Lacey Turner, Stacey Slater, even for an extended break, is undoubtedly a loss for the show. However, given how epic her 2010 exit was, we're hoping for a dramatic showing for her departure this year, and one remains true to her character. Already, the lengthy and trying the secret keeping from Stacey and Alfie about Zoe is no doubt going to come back to bite them on the ass. But given how much trauma Stacey has faced lately, maybe we should go for a bit more of a hopeful exit for the nation's sweetheart. I mean, just a side note, people wanted her to be given flowers or medals. I forget which one the UK one is, for like actually like coming back from pregnancy to film a live episode. Like they were saying, I don't think there was the Nobel Peace Prize or some shit like that. Like just give her like an award for doing it. She did fantastic. Anyways, plus with Max Brannan back in the picture, could we have a brief reveal of Stacks? Is that their fucking?
Stacey Max.
Is that their fucking ship name? Stacks. Fuck me.
Well, it's either that or Macy.
I'd prefer Macy. Stacks. Before she departs. Either way, we know Lacey Turner will knock it out of the park as she always does.
Yeah, it's the weird thing with Lacey Turner where they had to do the exit, but everyone else around it kind of just believes it probably she'll just take out like a year and then she'll be back. Which kind of fits Lacey's MO because, you know, she's been back and forth with maternity leave and having a family with a partner. So, like, full credit. But I also still think we probably will go. I think we'll have to. I think it's the right time to have a couple years without Stacey. Like, give us like 2 to 3 years without Stacey. Not that we're sick of Stacey, because Stacey's the character that keeps developing. But I do think it's probably the right time to kind of let a lot of the other Slaters flourish. Because it's kind of the Ballum situation where we go, oh, we have a big new story for Ben. Yeah, what about Callum? Yeah, but we have this big storyline for Stacey. What about Kat? Yeah, but this Stacey storyline's been really, really good. And it's not like she's doing it. She's not saying, give me storyline now. Like, I'm sure she just gets given what she's told. But it does feel like with having Stacey there, they kind of refuse to bring all the other Slaters up with her, as she's essentially on a pedestal, right? Stacey is an iconic character. She did ascend. She's had the big episodes. She's had the big storylines. You could go to multiple different points in time and think, oh, she had a really big storyline here, and it's kind of, she is established as soap royalty. But you know, once you make it there, it's kind of hard to come down. So you probably can get away with giving her a bit more time out.
Yeah, I definitely think her exit should be like memorable.
It should be a Christmas storyline.
It should be. Hopefully, it is. I just have it where the secret cams gets a bit too much for her, like the leaks, and she just leaves. But I'm also confused because do you let Lily leave, or what happens?
She'll be back. Oh yeah. That one's the confusing part.
Like, does Lily? Do you have the awkward thing like you did when Ian Beale left, where the Slaters just where like the Beals were just Kathy, Tall Peter, and Bobby. They're gonna be like that with Stacey's Slater family. It's just Arthur, Hope, Lily, and Jean, like, and that's it. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, like, will they have Zoe take care of her kids as like a way to pay a bad? I don't know. It's just a weird one. I feel like you kind of have to have, because you still want Lily Slater, because Lily Slater's been a pretty invested in character in the grand scheme of things. So you still want her available, but you also do have to trifle with the fact that she's probably, unless they just decide to just age her up like prematurely, essentially, and they go, you are now an adult now. You know, you will be doing the adult storylines. But yeah, it's just a weird one. But in terms of, I mean, I think it has to come down to a messy relationship with Max. I think that's what you have to do for Stacey's exit. Something big's probably. I know we're talking in tongues, but like something pretty big has to happen, because why would Stacey stay when her husband, when her basically soulmate dies in Martin? Why would she still stick around in the square there when, why would she stay if it wasn't something else very big? So maybe there's like a big Slater feud. Maybe her and Zoe don't actually get along and they kind of come to loggerheads. Like, I don't know, but you have to do something big. It has to be the big Christmas storyline, and it has to truly be like the closed chapter for now for Stacey.
Yes. And the next one, please.
Number 4.
Also, I just want to say the way I have this image is so funny because I just have Sucky's eyes and over the radio times. Don't undo character progression, at least not too much. And there's Sucky Panasaur. Subs. Oh, sorry. Subs always.
Can't move the mic closer.
Number 4. Subs always throw all sorts of things at characters, and sometimes new storylines require personality shifts to feel genuine. But given the development of some characters from recent years, it would be a shame to undo this completely. Text on Sucky Panasaur Unwin, as an example. While it feels right that the matriarch's darker side should be explored a bit more, it also feels disappointing to entirely do all the work the character has done to change her ways and become her authentic self, enough to be enjoying married life with true love, Eve Panasaur Unwin. The same could also be said for Ravi Gulati, whose bad boy image we love, but given how much work was done to redeem him from being a total villain, especially as he turned on evil Nish Panasaur, we wouldn't want him to stray so far into evil that we lose the character many have grown to love. Elsewhere, the work done on the character of Phil Mitchell during Chris Clenshaw's era, the mental health storyline, was exceptional, and also moved Phil on from tired gangster tropes and caveman-like behaviour. Again, it would be unrealistic to expect all old habits and tendencies to be removed. It also would be a shame to swiftly return Phil to be an ever-antagonist figure and getting involved in more crime at his mature age. In short, in subs, we have to expect some personality gymnastics, but viewers know these characters so well too, and they know when actions start feel especially out of place.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is obviously inspired by the Suki recent change with the trying to get Avani to have a baby for her and Eve to raise, which kind of brought out what some would say are the not so desirable characteristics of Suki. Some of the characteristics you would have seen more when they were introduced back in the day, when she faked having cancer to get a family around her, or when she had more traits that were more akin to Nish than the Suki we came to know with her relationship with Eve. So seeing this happen, you both go, this is interesting, and yes, she's a complex character. She's not just a one-note character still, but also it kind of gets it kind of goes to the territory where it's a little bit uncomfortable to it's just a little bit uncomfortable to come back to because you moved past this and you basically said this was all Nish. All of the bad stuff that Suki did, that was Nish. Like Linda, for example. Linda was an unlikable fucker for 9 years. She was one of the least likable characters on the show for 9 years. Then 2023 happened. You bring in Elaine, and Elaine takes all of the bad personality traits from Linda. And then, for 1 year, for one very good year, Linda's really likable. Then she goes drinking again, and then finally, this last period, she finally goes back to the Linda that a lot of us came to love in 2023. But you don't just put all the Elaine bad traits that you've had on Linda. You don't put them back on Linda now that you've done all the legwork to make her not that character anymore. Because there's a reason why Linda being caring to Lauren and Peter now works, and it didn't back in 2020 when she was out of the Vic, because they did so much shifting of said character. And by doing this to both Suki and Ravi, it's just, you have to toy with a different direction, where they want Ravi to be more of a criminal, which is engaging because, at the end of the day, 2000s very, let's be honest, Ben Wade is a 2000s EastEnders stan. There was a lot of crime in the 2000s of EastEnders. You had a bunch of the big criminals. You brought back the Firm. You had Jack Dalton. You had Andy Hunter. You had a bunch of other characters I don't remember the name of. You had all these gangster characters who, Phil had to trifle with, and you want to bring these sorts of characters back. But by doing it to Ravi, a character who you've kind of clumsily written at the best of times anyways, he's introduced as someone who's going to scheme and kill his own dad. Well, dad. And then you reveal that he's basically the black sheep of the Panasar family, Nish Panasar's bastard son who he didn't want. And then you go, okay, he is... Now he's trying to work hard to get out of Nish's shadow. But then the second that somebody basically says, "You're not Nish," he goes, "Yes, I am," and then twats him. It's just a weird stretch of all the development you've worked really hard to get for the character, and now you've just decided to pivot away from it. And it's just it's about figuring out whether the juice is worth the squeeze. Because yes, these storylines have been divisive and still been fairly interesting. But also, at the end of the day, you don't know when you're actually going to be doing some unremovable damage to these characters. So, if you go too far, you go too far the other way, you end up becoming Haley Slater. You know what I mean? Alfie Moon's never really been redeemed since 2018, in my opinion, and that was damage that has never really been sorted. It's always been there. It's always been worn like a cape of shame. It's just never really disappeared, and the ones who remember will forever remember unless they actually address it. So you need to actually address these things and actually decide whether this is the direction you want to go, or you just kind of go, "This was a blip, didn't happen."
It's on,
but basically do it quickly enough so you don't completely reshape the character into something that viewers don't recognize anymore.
I will say, just again, we've done the Alfie Bev cancers at times, but it's the fact, just because this is a great example, it's the fact that he was never acknowledged like that again. Yes, it's acknowledged that he slept with Haley Slater and that he has a daughter called Jerry, but it's never acknowledged. You did tell me I was the fault of my own abuse, you prick. Just go, Alfie, you just really want me, don't you? Yeah, I do, Kat.
He's just a funny guy, isn't he? He just does all the jokes, doesn't he? So what about the time he blamed Kat for being sexually abused by her uncle?
And what even makes it weirder is in 2022 he returns and he's just a perv. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just aggressively pursuing Kat when she says no. He says, but you love me, Kat. It's no.
Which even makes it weirder for me when Kat's I've always loved you, Alfie, after divorcing Phil, and I'm like, what? Excuse me? It's just, it made no sense to me. I was like, fuck.
It just leads to cognitive dissonance, right? Yeah. Where you know what you're supposed to think, but you don't think it because they've done something wrong.
Yeah.
It's like Reese. Obviously, thank fuck we don't have to mention Reese every single week. Reese was a polarizing character simply because they didn't fucking know what the audience was supposed to feel. And the audience didn't know what to feel. He's a bumbling idiot. Isn't it funny? He's now a killer. Oh. Yeah, but now he's a coward, and it's just tell me how to feel, and then I'll feel it, and then he can fuck off. But they didn't do that. They made it always muddy. There was never like a clear destination that the audience could view where Reese was going to go. So by the end, we're all just like, can this just fucking stop, please?
And then that bathtub just magically falls on top of Ash.
Exactly. Divine intervention.
But what I will say, like with Reese especially, Reese is always confusing to me because at the start of it, where like he's the modern, like he is Sonia's dream husband. So essentially, he's nerdy. He's like witty in a sense, fairy in a sense. Like he's like nerdy and shit. You're like, oh, he's just a bumbling idiot. And then the middle bit happens, and you're like, okay, he has a wife who's in a coma, basically dead but not dead. Okay, now he's killed her. Okay. Oh, now he has somehow locked his wife's sister in a storage unit. Okay. And somehow he's getting away with it. But, oh no, she broke free, attacked him with a vase, and then when the Queen Vic goes on a fire because of him, he shows back up and says, I hear congratulations is in order, and then gets hit with a bathtub. It's like, how am I supposed to feel about the entire character here, lads? What's the scope of what I'm supposed to feel? Which, yeah, it's definitely one of the worst things, just in general, of the Chris Crenshaw era was the Reese stuff. I was like, fuck me. You're like, oh, I like this guy. He's nice. And as Ash said, he's a legacy character. He's going to be there for at least 20 to 30 years. He's just lovable. And then you go further and further, and it's like, oh no. So yeah.
Yeah, you just need to clear some things up is the right thing. Like, is this the real Suki? Is it who she is? Has all of the development she's had under Eve, does that not matter anymore? She's this person. Is she developing into something different? Is Ravi going to stay like this for good? We don't know, and that's why it's kind of now a little bit more raised eyebrows around the characters. One thing I will say, though, the good point is obviously the mention of Phil Mitchell's kind of going from macho man to now actually still Phil Mitchell fundamentally, but someone who's a little bit more at peace with his mental health, which has kind of led to a bit less of an edge for Phil, which means he's a lot more pliable to this Nigel storyline. Because if it was just Phil Mitchell from 2005 dealing with this, good fucking luck. Yeah, like, good lord.
And finally, can you read the last one out for us? The number, please.
Number 5.
The way I have this image is so funny in my eyes. I'll show you in post. Blockbuster storytelling. Obviously you see the 6 here. So just for people who don't know, that's Jack, that's Stacey, that's Nish, that's Suki, that's Dean, that's Linda, Phil, Sharon, Keanu, Denise, Ravi, Kathy, and Rocky. There you go. Naturally, at the moment, we are building to some key returns to begin some A-list storylines for the show that will no doubt have the nation hooked. However, in the meantime, we are currently in a transition period of setting up a new status quo, with some shorter running stories and longer ones bubbling under the surface. Eventually, we'll need a defining major story for the new era at some point. Think of Who Killed Lucy Beale, The Six, the Voice of Grey Atkins saga, the Max and Stacey affair, and Sharon Gate. Yes, yet these things can't just be rushed, all in good time. EastEnders fans, as we know, high drama waits just around the corner. And that's it. That is the article. What do you have to say on this, or do you have anything?
I mean, it's just the final piece. Is obviously we're leading to some bit. We are obviously building to the big storylines. Like the big storylines will be Zoe Slater's return, Stacey's exit, Max's return. Frozen.
I'm back.
Got back. But yeah, we're currently amidst the Joel toxic masculinity storyline, which is going to have a big storyline. It is going to be it's going to be a sleeper hit. We're seeing Ravi kind of tackle the crime underworld, and I know it may seem a little bit far away, boys, but we are only 4 months away from Christmas. So we're going to see what this Christmas storylines are actually going to shape up to be, which ones are going to thread the line through the later half of the year. So if it doesn't ramp up, it will be one of the biggest disappointments. But it will, because it's EastEnders and it's heading towards Christmas time. So, like, autumn's already packed. A lot of returns set in for autumn. Exits likely set up for autumn as well. The Anna Knights, the Freddys, these sorts of characters are going to be leaving. And you'd have to imagine, if not this year, at least the start of next year, there will be a family on the. There will be a new family on the show, because it does feel like it's the right time. So, yeah, we are obviously going to have the blockbuster stories are going to come, and we're all gonna come see them. I don't know where I was going with that one. But yeah, it will happen, of course. The Zoe and Cat stuff is a blockbuster storyline in the making. Probably not entirely been the most satisfying build up to it necessarily, where it's basically like I don't know. I just hope they don't do all the near misses that they would typically do, where it's like, but Cat just went into the minute, Martin, and Zoe just walked by, but they were gonna say hi, but they missed each other. Like, I can't be dealing with more of that. So, fingers crossed, they finally meet, just like the trailer. And I think the Zoe return is happening very soon, if not in the next couple of weeks anyways. So a lot of exciting stuff that will heat up over autumn, and obviously crescendo at Christmas to kind of fully formulate and start to get the full gist of what this Ben Wadey era will become.
And if you enjoy this, let us know down below. If you have more articles for us you want us to read or discuss, let us know below. Let us know down below. I'm Piggy from Watching Walford. I've been clumsy reading this, and I've been joined by Ash from Watching Walford. And we will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye.